All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
There's,
Bill.
there's 2 minutes. There's the,
Budget too.
yeah, I get both, yeah, you both. There's the hearing.
Oh, the hearing minutes. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the hearing minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the hearing minutes as number 13 for the budget.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now the bills.
Okay. I'll go through the unusuals, and there's several. It was a decent spending month. As we go down the bills, Camacho Rehabber is the gas line from this building back to the Garage Art Studio, which is complete. Tomorrow we'll put in a water heater, and then Nicor can turn on the gas. City of Evanston is the after-school program, first semester. As we go down, Ann Cavode reimbursement for the party here on last Sunday. Garvey Office Products, mostly toner. Great America is our new phone system, which we're paying off and combined with the bill. So it's going to be that high for a while. But that's a new phone system. The old phone system was dying. So at any rate, it's
Great
a,
America.
That's the company.
It's the name of the company?
that's actually the finance. We didn't pay it up front. It's just built into the bill now through Great America.
Is that like the company that we're buying it from?
No. No, they already been paid by the finance company. This
This
is,
is financing basically?
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
can't we just pay it?
well, but it's cheap. We discussed it in the meeting, or with the staff.
I haven't heard we got a new phone system, so.
Sorry?
I said, I haven't heard we got a new phone system, so I wasn't in that meeting.
No, I'm talking about with staff. No. And it's really cheap. I mean, compared, it was $6,000 up front, and it's not much more over time, so we just took.
Is this the phone system that takes a picture or whatever when you come in the door?
No.
What is this? new
No,
phone?
this is her phone, my phone, her phone, all goes through a system,
Uh-huh.
a box that's in the closet on the way back, and that old system was dying,
These are cell phones. These are your cell phones.
so we had to get a new system.
Office
Office
phone.
phone.
This is a digital phone system, right? Is it digital?
It is digital, I believe.
Yeah.
But we got new phones. They came and installed. Will you move that away? There's some feedback. They gave us all new phones, and then I assume this is just the company that we're financing it from.
Right.
And where is that in the budget?
What's that?
What's that coming out of the budget?
It comes out of utilities.
Utilities.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the phone bill,
Okay. Gotcha.
part of the phone bill.
So we don't have an AT&T bill, we have a.
We do have an AT&T bill, but AT&T, we have UVerse, and then the main bill.
So Great America is the maker of the phones? Is that what the deal is?
No, it's the finance company of the phone. Yeah.
And why?
We didn't build in $6,000 for the phone system in the budget.
Into the budget.
Right.
Okay.
175 we can suck up in utilities
So it's gonna cost us $6,000 for a new phone system?
over time. Yeah. It's just what you got to get. Otherwise, we can't transfer. We can't do all sorts of things. You can't get messages. All sorts of things.
And are they charging interest on that?
Very little.
All right.
We didn't have it in the budget, $6,000. So and it had to
It would have
happen.
been good for us to know that we were buying a phone system for $6,000. I mean, I think generally that would be good information for the board to know,
Right.
in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, because it really doesn't say right there.
Right, but-
See this bill for 175, we have,
Right.
Yeah, so
We
we're
know
gonna
what
get
it's
this
like.
for the next, what,
What's that?
4 years? We'll have that for the next 4 years, 3 years, 4 years?
Oh, we'll have it for the next 15 years.
15?
You talking about the sub phone system?
no, I mean,
Oh, the bill. Oh, no, I'll have to look it up. I thought you meant how long will the system last? No, I'll look that up for you, but it's a nice system. It's got a hearing device for me, so I can answer the phone most of the time. The other phone system was not an option. It was dead. It was about to die.
It had to be replaced.
Had to be. And that system lasted almost 20 years.
I guess I'd just be interested, how long are we gonna be paying $175 a month?
I'll get that.
Is it for 3 years, is it for 5 years?
Yeah, it's 175 times 12, that's 200 basically.
Right.
It's 2,400.
Yeah.
It's 34 months at that price for 6,000, but is that the number that we're paying for?
I'll have to go look it up for you. I'll get it for you.
Okay.
Idlewood Electric Supply is the lights for the poles. That was in the budget. One pole is done. We have 2 poles to go, but we have all the material. So that'll happen hopefully next week, weather permitting. So the lights that came in east will work for whatever evening event that might happen and/or special event, especially ice skating. As we go down, Lurby Landscape is 6 trees at 3 parks, 1 at one at Brummel, 2 at Cayman East, 3 at Leiter. And that's replacing trees that were cut down, except for at Brummel, 1 was put behind a bench for neighborhood request. That's coming out of the Capitol.
What is Captain Saunders? What do we have a $1,000 bill there for now?
Well, the 400
month.
is in there.
But what's the 600?
You look it up. It's mostly conversations about
Probably the ordinance.
the ordinance.
Oh, ordinance, okay.
Yeah. Then as we go further down, Lions Fruit Farm is the pre-order payment we make to Lions. They get $25, I believe, an order. So that's paying them for this past summer. Pinnell Andrews, we replaced sidewalk right out here. I think most of you have seen it, where the tree fell, buckled everything. That's been replaced. It looks beautiful. And at Cayman West, we had crumbling concrete where the drinking fountain was and the water service is. So that had to be replaced. That was a total of $900. The sidewalk, tearing it out and replacing it was like $2,400. So we come to about $3,435. The Ridgeville Foundation is reimbursement. That's a grant that came to us from the city of Evanston that we deposited by mistake for the 2nd year in a row. And it's their money. So it just came in, now it's going out.
Oh, it's there, yeah,
It's not our money.
right.
And then Sunrise Tree is taking down 6 trees. 5 trees and stumping them. 2 at Cayman West and 3 at Leiter.
So Ridgeville Foundation, I know you had talked about this. Did that come in this fiscal year or last?
Came in July.
Okay,
This fiscal
so it's
year.
okay. Okay.
So it doesn't hurt us.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the bills.
I make a motion to approve the bills in the amount of $37,853.66.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Petty cash?
Petty cash. Adobe is Photoshop for program usage. Chase Bank is a series of fees charged to our account that weren't paid on time, so they're in petty cash now. City of Evanston is a hydrant fee. It's usually $200, but we missed a month, so we're trying to catch up. It'll be $150 the next month. It'll be $150. It'll be $150 the next month. Dengio's is very high. That's the party and the auditor's lunch. Evanston Organics topsoil that we added over here by the sidewalk to fill in areas that were barren. GoDaddy is her email address, is Jessica's new email address. House of Rental Moon Bounce for the Bike the Ridge. Lou Malnati's Pizza was for the year-ending farmers market. Staff mostly and the 2 marketers that showed up. Notary Association is Natalie. She's got to get some things done. Office Depot supplies, including a nameplate for Jessica. Todd Markman Insurance is insurance for Notary Republic. And Maggie Weber is Bike the Ridge band that played at the, is the School of Rock band that played at Bike the Ridge.
I'll entertain a motion to approve petty cash.
I'll make a motion to approve petty cash for $1,590.41.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Let's see. Brian, monthly report?
Sure. Our audit process began on October 1st. Here at Ridgeville, Canuity Associates spent the day reviewing documents with Treasurer Gibbs. Treasurer Gibbs spent most of the day here too. We hope the audit will be presented in December, the very latest. Some years we've got it in November to the board. Jessica Parr, working it as our office assistant since September 10th. And transition is going smoothly. She's here today to say hello to everybody. Obviously, we expect a few bumps in the road in that transition, but Jerry Gibbs, Natalie Salee, and myself will be there to help her. And we got through the first board meeting so far, so good. The after-school program is up and running. You have it in the bills. I talked to Bob Dornicker yesterday, and there's 12 kids. They expect at least another 12 as the weather changes. As I mentioned earlier in the bills, we planted 6 trees in our parks, 2 in Cayman West, 3 in Leiter, 1 at Brummel. I also met with Ryan Kettlecamp and have his recommendation for beautification of Brummel Park. I have it. It's been a pleasure working with him and his wife, Claire. They are not charging us, and they said, tell Ann to take a bow.
I cornered him at the
Could I ask you-
Edison Block
Do you have
Party.
a different,
You didn't get it in your envelope?
is there a different, you're talking about a different,
You don't have,
Yeah.
do you have mine?
Yeah.
I do now, yeah.
Okay, there's another update on a different subject. So we planted those trees. The Kettlecamp update you have, we can look at that. Basically, it's planting lilacs along the southern fence and adding a oak tree to the southeast corner, and that's basically it. They suggested nothing else because you need green space, open space for the kids to run and play. They've given us a variety of options, not so many options, but lilacs to look at and prices. Again, they have not charged us anything. It's a good plan. We have to rip out some bushes, which we plan on doing this fall, but not planting the bushes or the tree till next spring. The type of tree they suggest is a spring dig. So it's October, we're not going to find one. I think it's a colonial something oak. I can't remember, it's in here somewhere. Anyways, very good people to work with. It's going to be reasonable, less than $2,000. We've already spent over $2,000 on trees. So this will be a start of flowering bushes and mature trees in parks.
And what about over here?
They're going to get that to us, they don't have it yet.
Oh, okay.
But they do have, when I get it, I'll get it to you guys, but they have a minor issue with a sound barrier, like we had talked in arborvitae's, because it's going to break the sight line and it's going to be a terrific place to hide. So they're going to try to come up with something else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But we were talking about the sound.
Yeah.
Blocking the sound.
blocking the sound. They said it would be terrific. And then as they walked around and took pictures, they said you're going to break the sight line from the street to the stage from this corner here, and it's going to be a terrific place to hide when there's nothing going on. You know, like if you wanted to sit back and have a few, that would be the place. So, anyway, they're coming up with a suggestion.
What is this for? I'm sorry, I just came in a little late.
Sorry, again.
What was this for? The trees, this is just for outside here?
Yeah, part of the capital improvement plan, but to block sound for the Shakespeare and
Oh,
performances.
okay.
But he's talking that it could be a problem just for.
Yeah. So you could take a look at this. We're not going to do any of this in October. We're going to do it in the spring, but we're going to yank bushes in October.
All right, well, I know about the hiding stuff. I mean, we can all think of things that will make us go and be fearful. If it's a good sound barrier, it's a good sound barrier. Let's just kind of stay with that. that's the essential thing it's for.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so if it's a sound barrier, it's a sound barrier, and that's one thing. If that's taking care of your problem, I think that's a really good thing, especially for Shakespeare.
Right.
But, you know, if somebody is going to do something, they're gonna, you know,
Right.
you know, we can make all kind of stuff up in our head, like, oh my God, this is gonna happen. But I don't think we need to go there with that.
Well, they're trying to do both sound barrier and less sightline being disturbed. So we'll see what they come up with. Nothing's been ordered, nothing's gonna be ordered. It's gonna be a springtime thing.
And Kettle Camps are doing the work. They live in the district, and they're also a company out of Evanston, right?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, and they're doing it for free.
Yeah.
Oh, they are?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's even better. I mean, they're my neighbors, so I'm like, wow.
Yeah, good people.
They're good people, yes.
I'd just like to say that I think that the sound area is not the most important thing. Let's remember, I don't know if you guys, I know you weren't on the board then, when a woman was attacked in Fire Engine Park, what is, I always call it Fire Engine. Cayman.
Lighter?
Lighter.
We put in the Boy Scouts put in the natural prairie mound,
Uh-huh,
and a young lady
got attacked.
25 years ago got abducted and dragged behind there.
That's right, so let's be very.
Where was this again?
Lighter
This was
Park.
Lighter? In the back of that?
No.
park or in the front?
In the front,
And
Because of the mounds.
there was a
the
mound
mound.
with prairie grasses and
Okay.
stuff.
So that's why I just want to make sure that we do
Yeah.
keep that at the top of our,
And then she was abducted on the street and dragged behind the mound.
because nobody could see her from the
She was
street
actually,
because
this
of the mounds.
is 25 years ago, she's actually cut too.
I know, that's very, very unfortunate.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're getting crazy. They themselves are going to try for an alternative, but I don't want to just say, it does the sound, let's forget the sight, because that's, people in the neighborhood remember that, I'm sure.
But it didn't happen here, though. It happened in Lighter, and it was a different situation with.
It was a
with Mount.
site, it was because the site from the street created a place to hide, which is
So
exactly what we're talking
when it happened, obviously everybody was upset, but the police came out and did a sightline survey of the park and said, get rid of that mound.
Okay.
So we
they
did.
would probably
Yeah.
do the same
Yeah.
thing here, if, you know.
Okay, so I prepared a thank you letter to the executor of Yvonne Vandehaven's estate. If you want to see it and sign it, I'll pass it around. And I can mail this tomorrow. I talked to the attorney, I mean, just wonderful people. Also, at Bike the Ridge on Sunday, September 30th, the weather held out until about noon. I did have a few complaints regarding the Harley Clark table set up at the event. It's a situation where I was asked the morning of the event if they could have a table to dispense information regarding their cause. I mistakenly agreed. And bear with me here, I believe this is a problem because it may violate State of Illinois and Park District ethics codes. The Park District, including staff, need to stay nonpartisan, and this is an election issue. Where, according to the statutes, we're not to promote any activity, influence elections or referendums on Park District property. We should not promote any political organization or purpose for or against any referendum question. Where I made the mistake is I didn't even know it was a referendum question. So it was my mistake. I was asked by a few different people, and about 5 minutes or 15 minutes to 9, and I said yes. So.
And one of those was like my neighbor, I think.
And one of them was a board member.
And one of them was Anne Rainey.
What's that?
She didn't ask to put that table up.
No, she was the one that was upset about it.
She wasn't the only one, because I got
Yeah.
calls. But a board member asked to put up the table
Yeah.
and not go through
Yeah.
the, so I think
Who would that be?
Dan!
I said that facetiously. Debbie, I was not with them. In fact, it's a conflict of interest. I'm on the Preservation Commission for the City of Evanston, and I did not go near the table. In fact, a friend of two people that I know, I just want to correct that, because I did not go near the table. I'm not involved in that.
I
It is
believe
a
that.
conflict of
I didn't hear
interest.
you were involved.
It is a well, you just know you made a statement
And I'm
before
telling
that.
you, I I know you weren't involved, I did not hear that you were, but I know that Dan was. And I think that it needs to be said, because, you know, we could be fined.
Well, here's what's going to happen in the future. The answer is no. Unless both sides have the opportunity to know about it and come.
Well, there's
But-
even some
but-
question about that.
Yeah, there is.
That
So,
no sides of a
Yeah,
voting issue
right.
should be at the park.
right. And that also, it comes up occasionally, like somebody running for the board might want to use this building. No.
You can't.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a really touchy gray area that we shouldn't be involved in. And by the way, when you run, everything about the park district is non-partisan, and we have to stay that way.
The other thing is that people have to put in, have to hand in a form to have places out there and pay a charge. And for a board member to ignore that and just ask for it, I think it needs to be said to me.
But you okayed it, didn't you, Brian?
What's that?
You okayed it.
I okayed it.
Yeah.
It was my,
Oh, so it's Brian's responsibility totally?
it is my responsibility in that, it's a violation and I should have known. Again, I was not aware, and it's my fault, that it's a referendum issue.
Right, and so, and I just want to, just for clarification's sake, did Dan ask you this?
Yes.
Okay, so Dan started it and asked, I
And then,
knew
and then,
nothing of
and
this.
then the ladies asked.
Okay, and then the ladies
Yeah.
asked, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Well, it was an honest mistake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
it won't happen again, trust
No,
me.
it was an honest mistake on your part.
Okay. So that's my report.
What about Lighter Park and the play equipment and
That's- that-
contacting Little Beans?
That's here. That's on the agenda.
Oh, that's later.
It's later, yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, so Jerry.
You should have a report for me in the packet. I'll quick run through it. Notable activities, as Brian mentioned, the auditors were here on October 1, began the process. They did say that they found no preliminary issues, which is good. Hoping before November's board meeting, I'll at least have seen a draft of the audit, but the final results probably won't be available until late November or likely December's board meeting. The monthly financial reports are distributed, or some of them are distributed with the packet here. I'll start with the appropriations ledger. There's the usual two formats, a summary format.
I don't have it. Do you have it?
You should.
I don't.
Report.
This?
There's extras.
It's right here, okay.
On the appropriations report, it does not have any budget information because as of the point in time that's reflected here, there was no budget in place yet. The October reports will then start to reflect budget information. So it's basically just good for seeing that we've spent about $206,000 so far into the year prior to passing the budget. The statement of revenue and appropriations, the last page of the stapled packet, I got them stapled a little out of order. The things I'll highlight on that, one, like the appropriations ledger, there's no budget information, so it's just kind of actual data, no budget to compare it to. But I'll highlight, if you look at the recreation program revenue, account C105, you'll notice we're a negative $2,164 in that account. You recall that's because of our revenue sharing arrangement with the cardboard camps, for example, plus just other refunds that we had to do. Puts us in a negative position at this point in the year. We've got 9 months in the year left to get out of the negative position and achieve the budget goal for program revenue. The interest collected line is understated a little bit because at this point in time I don't have any of the investment accounts posted into here. The other thing about this is the accompanying report, the trial balance and balance sheet. I cannot transfer the balances into the new year until after I've seen at least a draft of the audit to know that the auditors have agreed with the beginning balance figures. So I focus just on getting posted the cash accounts where we're dispersing money for appropriations. But I don't have fund balances, I don't have investment account balances or anything like that loaded into the system yet because I can't until the auditors are further into the process. So far, from a cash flow standpoint, our revenue over appropriations is about $157,000. So we've brought in $157,000 more than we've had go out so far into the year, and about $65,000, $66,000 of that is the Vanderhaven estate. I kind of butchered the name, I didn't have the spelling of the name in that report, but that's what that's about. On the outstandings report, we've got quite a few items on here, and the dollar amount at $8,000 is pretty high. But in reality, when you look at the dates of the items, there's not a lot to be terribly concerned with on the report. They're all going to kind of self-correct in the next reporting period. So I'm not terribly concerned if there are a handful of items that are starting to get stale. I'll work with Jessica and Brian in the next 30 days to try and clean up a bit. But there are a few items on here that have to have board attention tonight because we've been sitting here for more than 2 board meetings without getting resolved. And for that, I've got a proposed motion. I would ask you to approve the reclassification and write-off of the $95.74 item to SNS Worldwide. And there's a couple of Little Caesars entries there that are off by a few pennies. So it's just like a 2 penny difference, but because of them not matching, I can't clear them off without board action. The error in that case was the fault of Little Caesar. They actually charged us more than they gave us a receipt for by 2 cents.
I so move for the said unresolved items.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor? I'm just trying to figure out what this SNS Worldwide is.
Supplies. Camp supplies.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
That's all I've got at this point.
Thank you.
Okay, this month we celebrate Muslim American Heritage Month and we spotlight the work of Tariq El-Amin. Tariq's work addresses the concerns of underserved communities within the Chicagoland area, giving special attention to youth development. Among many other important organizations he's connected to, he's the founder and executive director of Bridging the Gap. It's a nonprofit organization with an established educational and mentoring program and frequent youth-led service projects. You can read more about Tariq on our celebration board. Bike the Bridge Fall Frenzy, our annual co-sponsored event with the city, went very well. Brian already talked a little bit about that. The weather was a little touch and go, but we had quite a few folks come out. School of Rock got to play, and the foundation and I raised a little bit of money for the scholarship fund. And we chose the winner of the raffle for the bike, so they're coming to pick that up tonight.
Oh, cool.
Half-day workshops. We had our first half-day workshop of the season. We're doing stories and actions again with JC Herman. She's doing it for grades 1 through 5. We had 12 kids sign up for the first one, which is about twice as many that we had last year at this time, so that's awesome. She did a great job with them, and we're looking forward to the next workshop on November 7th. Farmers Market has come to an end for 2018. We had a nice amount of people come out on the last day to support Lions Fruit Farm and Cat's Cookies. This market was a little tough this summer. We started with 6 vendors and we ended with our loyal 2. It's one of those, it's hard to get vendors to come and stay when there's not a ton of people coming in, but it's hard to get a ton of people to come in if there aren't vendors who will come and stay. So I'm
Both sides?
trying to come up with some plans for next year that might help that, but
I thought the times when you had the concerts, it seemed to attract
Yeah.
more people.
yeah, I think I might, that's one of the things we offer vendors an option of coming for a full market, like for all 17 markets, or you can kind of mix and match. I might create like a concert package, so you can come during the concerts.
That's a good idea.
You know, who knows, but I'm looking for some ideas for that too, so. But all in all, it was good. It was a good summer. Fall 1 wrap up, our Fall 1 session has completed. was very successful. Our class revenue for the first fall session, including sampler cards from July 1st to October 5th, was $6,785, which is, based on our fall 1 session this time last year, is at almost $3,000 more than where we were last year, so that's great. I also feel very confident that we will come right up out of that negative for program revenue. That's gonna be fine. So that's great. So fall 1 was a success. Fall 2 begins on Sunday. We've got great registration so far, so most of our classes will run. Some of the new classes that are going to be running this session include Intro to Sewing for youth, Community Choir, and then our African Drumming. Community Choir and the African Drumming class we did as a pilot in the spring and were successful, so bringing it back, and we're going to try to run them again this fall. Did a couple demo classes this week to promote adult ballet and our folk dancing class with Yuta and the High Dukes. So hopefully that will bring in some foot traffic for those classes as well. And then workshops. Tonight we did a backyard chicken 101 workshop upstairs. We had 6 people come and it was great. I was very happy. We've got free dance and writing, parental development, and then family dance, and then a family dance design for families that have children with special needs. And those will start in October, so trying to get the word out about those as well. Our Halloween happening is happening on October 25th. We'll have our maze and candy and live entertainment. We had a huge turnout for the egg hunt this year, so I anticipate a pretty large turnout for this one as well. And in other news, I'm a notary. It's official. And I got my stamps.
All right.
So,
I just had a question about just the accounting on that. I think it was the cardboard construction thing. The way I understood it was that the revenue came in last fiscal year and then it went out this fiscal year, which doesn't really show you a very good representation of what was going on. It kind of crossed over on the summer, I guess, or is that when the classes were?
well, for that particular camp, we ran 2 large camps with the cardboard folks in August, but registration opened up for it in January. So people paid and registered for those 2 camps, and they were week-long full-day camps, so they were expensive camps.
Right.
And they paid for those partially in the previous fiscal
budget.
year. Yeah. So then when it came time to write our check to him,
It was in the next
it was in
year.
the next one. So moving forward, I'm gonna try to fix that, and either if we partner with him again or anybody, I'll try to open registration after July 1st, so it's all in the same fiscal year, or run the camp in June, so that payment.
There's
The problem,
thing is,
accounting
probably
wise,
great in
2 ways to
August.
do it, and well, there's 3 ways to do it. And the way it was handled isn't the way,
Right.
of the 3, it's the one you don't want to do.
Yeah.
The other 2 ways are, 1, all that revenue, rather than being booked as revenue when it's received, should operate the way we do with the farmer's market pre-orders, which is we book the revenue as accounts payable.
Oh, I see.
Okay, and then in the next fiscal year, we reverse out the accounts payable to pay the vendors, and then take the remaining balance and book that as revenue.
Okay, so that's just like
That's
a
one
way,
way to
an
do it.
account.
The other way to account for it is operate more formally like a program where you have a revenue line and you have an expense line. So we would have an expense category for cardboard camp expense, that's what we pay the vendor from, but we take all the revenue in as revenue. We'd have to be careful in our budgeting to make sure we are putting the expense portion in the correct fiscal year and make sure we're putting the revenue portion in the correct fiscal year.
Yeah, so there's a way to do it and keep it just the way you had it.
Okay.
Yeah.
C,
I don't understand any of that.
C219,
If it's a recreation program, R. It's C219R.
so our camp revenue most of it comes in January, February, March, and half of the expense is in July of the next budget year.
But you have, in that case, you're doing it the third of the ways I described it is you have expense items that
Right.
you expense it to. You don't have a cardboard,
Right,
you know,
so,
expense line item. You
so
can create one.
let me ask you this question. If cardboard doesn't exist and we run a 2-week extension camp, because camps end so early now, the 8 weeks end so early, that's our camp. And then it would be in the next year's budget, everything's okay.
It's, again, have a line item.
Well, the question is, did you have the expenses for cardboard camp in the appropriations budget for this year?
We had no expenses. We just collected money.
Yeah.
But you did have expenses, you cut a check to the vendor.
Right, that was part of the deal.
That's expenses.
Yeah, right, no,
That's expenses.
right, no, but so what I'm saying now is cardboards might
We
be,
took the revenue last year and we cut a check to the vendor this year.
Well,
That's an expense.
correct.
I just think we could see it more clearly if it were in these line
Yeah.
items or accounts
But
payable
it-
or however you do it.
If cardboard's gone and we have a 2-week bridge camp run by us, we put it in next year's budget, everything's fine. The expense and the revenue. Yeah. Because I think that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Natalie,
I mean, you could have called it a special event, but you wouldn't have to create a new category. You could have said it's a special event, but you would have needed to, in the budget, plan for it and budget for
Correct.
paying the vendor
Correct.
in the next year, and that didn't happen.
It's just that it's more clear, like, it's like apples to apples,
Right, and then we don't start in a hole this year.
right? Yeah.
Anytime you're reversing revenue, that's your red flag, something's not quite right. That's not the right way to handle
you good?
it. Sorry.
No, no worries. I just said, I was just curious about the community choir. That's a great
Yeah.
idea. So, does that work in conjunction with the African drumming, or is it?
Separate class.
Okay, it's a separate class.
The woman, there's a
Who's
woman,
running that?
her name is Rebecca Toon,
Okay.
and she's an instructor at Old Town
Okay.
Music.
Is that part of the Chicago Community Choir?
It is not.
Okay.
This is a Ridgeville Community Choir, and
Awesome.
we had like 7 or 8 folks take it in the spring. I've got like 6 or 7 registered now.
Okay.
So yeah, it's fun.
And so will they
People seem to really
perform?
I don't know if they want. I mean, in the same way they didn't want to in the spring, but in the same way that like our dance kids do like an end of season recital, they could certainly do that if that was something they wanted to do, or they could perform all together. I don't know, who knows? Yes, maybe.
I went to this really great concert for the Chicago Community Choir down on the south side, and apparently they have a facility up on the north side where people practice and on the south side, and then they come together and they perform.
Oh, cool.
This holiday concert was fabulous.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really
That'd
cool.
be, yeah, if they're into that. And the African drumming class, I actually take the African drum class. I love it. So if you know anybody that wants to take it, I am really trying to make this thing happen. The instructor is great. He's one of the drummers that come to play live for the dance class. And it's a lot of fun. And he provides drums. It's cool.
That does sound like fun.
Halloween party?
It is from 4 to 5:30. Or 4 to 5, whenever it slows down.
Okay. Jessica, do you want to have anything to tell us?
Jessica.
Have you met?
No.
I
Welcome.
just want to say thank you for welcoming me. It's been a bit of a transition coming into this position, but I've been working with Brian and Natalie and Jerry to get things kind of running smoothly so that they can happen in a timely manner so you guys can get your information done. Been working with ADP on getting things a little bit easier access for our workers, our employees. So that's the next thing, and then we have access, a lot of access that we aren't utilizing, that we're paying for. So we're trying to work with them to get that up and running. But yeah.
Great.
She's awesome.
She's been wonderful.
We love her.
Welcome.
Welcome again.
Yeah. Okay, so strategic planning and goals. You know, this is a little early in the game for you, Jessica, but I was thinking that down the line, I would like to be able to see, camps versus classes, revenues versus expenses, like in a QuickBooks kind of thing. I know they're coming in from different avenues and they've kind of struggled with stuff like that, but if down the road we could look at that.
Yeah, I actually was talking to Jerry about that earlier this week. There's some discussion about maybe starting the QuickBooks company that we have over, so that we can see from like this next upcoming year forward where we stand with revenues coming in, like payrolls going out, a lot of different things that weren't being utilized before with QuickBooks. I mean, Jerry tracks a lot of that stuff already on his own, but just as a way for, my personal knowledge and board's knowledge to see, like, print out of what's coming and what's going. So,
Yeah.
it's definitely something that I can work on and get.
Yeah, I mean, not right away, obviously, but.
Give me some time.
Yeah. And then art studio renovations, do we have anything, will we have, the gas line is in?
The gas line is in, water heater's going in tomorrow, heat will be turned on early next week. Then we're gonna replace the drop ceiling and the floor, and probably the sanitary tub, in the main area of the art studio, garage art studio. And, we're well on our way to making the place look pretty darn nice.
Great. I had a conversation with Natalie about possibly just thinking about maybe an artist in residence, since we'll have heat in there, and maybe it could work like, where the person has access to the space, but then like gave back, like teaching a class or, something like that, and they'd be there for like a period of like 3 months or 6 months, through the winter, not the summer, obviously.
Maybe.
To use the studio and then, yeah.
Then give back to the community, like it would have to be structured.
Right.
There's a lot of artists in the area too. I remember doing something at Oaks Park where there was a ton of artists out, and I know throughout the town, they were painting some of the viaducts, under the viaducts, and they had, schools involved, some public schools involved, and they were doing things like that.
Yeah, like I know Allison, who was one of the previous program directors, she was a mosaic artist.
Mm-hmm.
And so she actually did a little bit of the mosaics out here. But, that could be something where we have a project on the grounds or something.
Mm-hmm.
People call all the time for things like that, so I think we'll be able to come up with something.
Yeah. So, do we have anything more to say about the after school? We kind of talked about it already, right?
Contract signed, no, you're paying the bill, it's going well, they look for registration at double soon.
Okay. And then, you want to...
Building looks great if you go over there.
Does it?
It looks really good.
Real nice
Yeah.
job.
They put the furniture back in?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And they decorated, everything looks really
You.
nice.
Oh, good.
I'm just happy that program's going because a lot of the city stuff is getting cut
Yeah, right.
away.
They cut the Arts Council person at the city. Yeah. Lighter Park, do you want to talk more about that?
Sure. You have a little 2-3 paragraph update in your packet. Natalie and I met with Little Beans manager Tyler, can't remember his last name, on Thursday, actually I think it was Friday, my fault, October 5th. We discussed park usage and upcoming improvements at Lighter Park. We asked if his building would be available on a Tuesday or a Wednesday in the near future for a neighborhood meeting to discuss these improvements. Tyler said that'd probably be available at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday or a Wednesday to host a meeting. And if not, we always have the David Wood Fieldhouse as a backup option. Laney Chaplick of Park Creation, who's done all the work at Lighter Park, or at Brummel Park, which by the way, we had a huge compliment from Mr. Kettlecamp on Brummel Park. He said it was the nicest park in Evanston, so I disagree, but pretty close. But I take the compliment. At any rate, Tyler said we'd have to be able to have the meeting. If not, we always have, like I said, David Wood Fieldhouse as a backup. Lanny Park Creation is available to meet on Wednesday, October 24th, 2018. We need to decide if that works for us and move forward. I can then flyer the neighborhood. I can make sure Little Beans is available, and if it's not, then the flyer would say David Wood Fieldhouse for the neighbors to come. We can then come up with a play circuit plan with the neighbors' input and begin to move forward. We also brought up the idea of Little Beans making a significant contribution towards this play circuit. And that idea will be proposed to ownership by the manager. Tyler's only 28-year-old guy.
So you were just dealing with, not the owners, you were just.
What's that?
You were just dealing with the manager.
Yeah,
Not the
yeah.
owner, okay.
So we're going to pursue that a little harder, and I think Pat brought up a play circuit he saw where different companies from the area had invested in the park, and their little tags were up, AT&T or whatever the company might be, several companies. Little Beans uses the park all summer. They have camps. They walk over and use the park. So there'd be a natural. We'll see what they say.
There's also, just as a matter of course, there's a former alderman,
Knows them really well. He doesn't live in Evanston anymore, but he can, especially he loved Ridgeville, he can talk it up a little bit.
Who's the former alderman?
Brian, what's his last name? Brian.
No.
That's it, sorry, Brian Miller, yeah, step down, yeah. So,
One way or another, the project's moving forward.
Right.
So here's the issue. On the 24th, we can have this meeting, and I'll find out what works. If we post it, it's a board meeting. If we don't post it, only 2 of you can come.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Well, why don't we see when they can do it, and,
It's the 24th.
I think the 24th is a little quick. I can do it after Halloween.
yeah, that's really fast, that's next week.
By the time you fly to the neighborhood, give some people some time to think
Yeah.
about it.
So you want to do it early November?
Yeah,
I would
maybe
think
before Thanksgiving.
Obviously
Okay.
before Thanksgiving, but sometime mid-November, we need a little time.
Thanksgiving falls early this year.
Yeah.
so the second week of November, maybe.
Or just before
It's
the
the
end of the year.
22nd, right? 22nd. Thanksgiving's the 22nd or 3rd.
It's the 22nd, yeah.
So-
Yeah, I agree, I think that is too fast.
So we'll look at early November. It'll be before before the next board meeting.
Yeah, because that's what we need to bring up too, before we sign off here.
Yeah.
You are, is that,
It will.
Yeah, I asked.
what were those dates? What were the dates?
So the whole board can't go to the neighborhood meeting about the park unless it's posted?
Unless we post it as a board
Post it
meeting.
as a meeting.
Yeah.
I don't think there should be any restriction.
We're just gathering information. We're not making any decisions.
Yeah.
There'll be no motions made or anything like that.
Yeah.
So then what we do is then Laney would take all those ideas and bring a couple renditions to you guys,
Oh, okay.
right here at a board meeting, and then you can discuss
Okay, yeah, so it probably will be. before the
changes
next board
or
meeting.
what you want to do. And it's got to be within budget.
Either before the next board meeting or after Thanksgiving.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll get on that.
Okay, so,
So just those dates, you're talking about changing the meeting from the 8th to the 7th?
15th.
15th.
does that work for you?
Are you going before then?
It's a Thursday.
I'm leaving on the 30th of October.
Okay.
And when do you come back?
I come back on the 4th, on the, wait a minute, on the 11th. So if we want to do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Yeah, I can't do Tuesday or Wednesday very easily, so, and we can't do Tuesday here.
Okay.
So,
Thursday.
does Thursday work for you, the 15th?
I don't have my phone with me, I'm sorry. I think I looked at the gym. I can't say at the moment, I'm sorry. I'm sure it's okay.
Got to have a quorum.
All right.
So
So this is, so
if you're not available at the beginning of the month, then I think we should push these later to early in December then. If she's not available at all.
Or the week of the 27th of November?
Yeah, the week after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So lighter after Thanksgiving.
Because didn't you say you're going to be gone in December as well?
Yeah, I'm gonna be out of the country in December.
As a reminder, December's a really critical meeting because of the levy ordinance.
When do you leave in December?
No, I get back in December on the 17th, I think.
Oh, so that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So you're just not gonna be here then. So can we just make a motion to possibly change the meeting to November 15th?
I'll make a motion to change the November 8th meeting to November 15th.
All in favor?
Second.
Oh, sorry, second.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And then we're gonna have to post that, the change.
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
Natalie handles
I
that.
do that.
Oh, you do that, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's not one.
She's the secretary, so that.
Oh, okay, gotcha, okay.
Thank you.
And then new business, we need to authorize Jessica as our IMRF agent.
Correct.
I move that we authorize Jessica Parr as our IMRF agent. We need a motion
A second for that?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's good. And then we need to approve changes to our bank account signing authority needed due to the office manager retirement.
I had conversations with both Chase Bank and First Bank and Trust of Evanston. I've got paperwork and everything squared away with First Bank and Trust of Evanston, other than we just need to pass a motion. With Chase, it's one of the more, it's not as complicated as some, but more complicated than First Illinois. I first went into the local branch and met with the folks here. They ultimately determined they cannot help us in the local branch because we're a government unit. They ended up putting me in touch with the government and non-for-profit unit of Chase Bank in Tempe, Arizona, and that's who I've been dealing with. And he has given me the language where I've drafted a letter that I need to have you sign, and after we pass a motion tonight, that will then go to the government unit for processing, and then they will report back to us when it's available. Then all of us that are signers on the accounts have to, as a group, go into Chase Bank at an agreed upon date and time and sign the new paperwork together as a group. So that's one of the other things I want to talk about is the availability of folks for doing that. The nature of the motion itself I'm proposing is that you move to authorize the treasurer, Jerry Gibbs, to remove Anna Christina Nelson from banking relationships at Chase Bank and First Bank and Trust of Evanston. I'll come back to this. And to add Commissioner Ann Cavode to the Chase payroll and petty cash accounts, and to add Natalie Sally to the petty cash account. One of the interesting things as I kind of got into this is I found our current signers at Chase are kind of all a mishmash. You are not a signer on anything but the general account. Rob is a signer on everything. Brian and I are signers on everything. There's no record of Anna ever having any authority to sign anything, even though she's been signing checks. And Mike Drennan is still signing her paychecks. So,
Well, that will
as
change.
a part of this exercise, we're going to get that all squared away and straightened out.
The only thing I would just say is that I'm not planning on running again. So it's a short-term
But from a
solution.
legal standpoint,
You have to.
until you're gone,
Right.
we've got to have these signings in place.
Okay,
And then when, there's a new president, we've got to do a better job of staying on top of getting the paperwork changed. This last go-around somehow got changed without me being involved. And I think kind of how it happened is when you go into the local branch, if they think you're a non-for-profit, only the corporate secretary can handle these changes. But because we're a government unit, we are not a not-for-profit.
oh,
That, and that's kind of what happened is some of our account coding got screwed up and we're being treated like we're a 501(c), not a government unit.
Right.
And that's not right. There's a whole host of reasons why that's not right. So we're getting that all cleaned up everywhere.
Are you done with the motion?
That's the motion.
Okay, is it okay to
yeah.
approve that motion? I so move that we approve the motion stated by Jerry Gibbs, our treasurer.
I typed it out so that our secretary.
I was like,
All in favor?
Thank you.
So did you want to like suggest a date? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, I can't suggest the date because I don't know yet, but what I want
But
to
it's
find out,
coming. It's coming.
I'm thinking you're the more difficult to get a hold of. My time is very flexible, your time is very flexible.
As long as
And
it's
your
early in the morning, I could, you know.
Business hours, Monday through Friday.
Yeah, if it's a set time and I can go,
Like,
okay,
okay.
this Monday or Tuesday, I'm gonna.
And would that work
do
for you,
this
say
at
like
a
a
certain
9 o'clock
time.
right as they open kind of thing?
I'll make that work, yeah.
Yeah, although I'm going to be out of town the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Well, we can't do it till the paperwork comes back, right?
Well, next week I'm going to be leaving on Thursday, not coming back till Tuesday.
Okay. I don't know when they're gonna propose we do this. We have to send this into them and then wait for them to notify us that the paperwork's available in the local branch.
Okay.
I don't know if that's gonna happen like in 48 hours or whether that's like a 2-week long process or what. But
Okay.
as soon as I know, I'll be in touch. That's the road we're on, the path we're trying to go down.
Okay.
Can I ask one question?
Uh-huh.
So Natalie's going to be on petty cash eventually.
Yes.
Should we, to cover our fannies, make a motion that Anna comes off everything, even though you haven't found her on anything?
That was the language of the motion.
Okay.
And then I'm confused why she would be on petty cash. Is that part of the secretarial duties?
Because
You need two signatures.
day-to-day, the petty cash is for day-to-day, we gotta do it now kind of stuff, to call up
Okay.
the commissioner and get them to come in from home in the heat of the moment.
Okay, gotcha.
Is a burden.
Yeah. I guess I didn't understand what that
Yeah.
meant. Okay,
She can't write a check.
right.
I can't write a check, but I can say, I wrote a check, will you please co-sign it? And then we can use,
That's a good.
That's just for petty cash.
that's petty cash, yeah.
And
Yeah,
it also just checks and balances too.
right.
One person.
And it's got a
Our
$350
checks
limit.
all say that 2 signatures are required,
Uh-huh.
but the banking agreements say there's no way they'll enforce that. That's not,
We enforce it.
yeah, we can enforce it, but they're not gonna be held liable if they pay a check on our behalf and it didn't have 2 signatures.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So call of the commissioners. Is there anything anyone wants to talk about?
Just just for the sake of saying it, we were talking about stuff that happened in Atlanta 2 years ago. But Howard Street has been really hot the last, 3 months. I mean, and I walk that all the time going to the Howard Street station. I had to change my route because we've had so many shootings, you know. But, you know, that's our district as well, so I'm just mentioning it as, I know Chicago, and this is some stuff that's spilling over from Rogers Park and some Evanston stuff, so we're going, what's going on? So I don't know if you know or not, but there was, a couple months ago, there was a graduate student from Northwestern who was, you know, was killed, and then there was a shooting near the Popeyes across the street that spilled over into our district. And the last one there was a couple in Chicago that were pretty close. And I consider Rogers Park, I mean, it's not Evanston, but it's, you know, it's our neighbor.
That young man he was more at lunch and like near the lake.
Yeah, that stuff was near the lake, but
Yeah.
they're trying to figure out whether or not some of this, you know, was part of that. So anyway, just mentioning that, and the eighth ward there along Howard. I don't know what's going on, but if there's anything we could, you know, do as a park district to just make sure we're aware. I think knowing who our officers are and knowing, you know, and trying to, things like our after-school program, just more of just being involved as much as we can. And we didn't have anything to do with that, but it's scary. It's very, very scary, and there's a lot of people who are in harm's way on a daily basis. And like I said, I changed my route. I actually drive to the Purple Line now to get to my training. So, but anyway, I just wanted to mention that.
And do you get much feedback from police? Just,
No, we've had a few complaints. I talked to the police. I mean, we have a few situations, and I talked to the police, foot patrol, and basically our parks have been in pretty good shape. There's been a few issues at Elks. without going into too much detail, it's kids getting off the bus, hanging in the park, and the foot patrol people say it's great, and one neighbor says it's not great.
Oh, okay.
So, that's the only issue we have this fall so far.
Because school has started and,
Yeah,
and, you know, kids are hanging out.
that's great.
Okay.
Everything's been good.
They have a picture of the guy that shot the young man, I know his grandma.
Yeah, I know,
She's
in
in
Chicago
class
Center.
with me.
Really?
This is her second grandchild that's died in 2 years. I mean, the first one died of cancer, and this one was shot, of the same son's family. But, that one and the older man, they have a.
They've got the picture
They have
of the
a
guy.
video of the young man, or whatever.
Yeah, they've got a $20,000 reward for anybody that could have information leading to the arrest, finding them, so, yeah.
That's scary.
Can I talk about the comment real quick?
Oh, yeah.
So Rob, you weren't here, but before the meeting, we were just shooting the breeze. ComEd has made a request, you should have it in your packet.
I got it right here.
ComEd has made a request to add a switch box in Cayman West Park, which is going to be 10 by 15, not the actual box, but the space they need. And the reason they need it is they're going to run underground wiring down Asbury from Oakton north, and then into the switch box on public property, and they need an easement, and they need our approval. So what they've asked is if they could come to the November board meeting. They actually asked for the October, but that was yesterday, and that was not going to happen. And then they would like Ann to come out and meet with the engineer, myself, and anybody else who wants to come, as long as it's not three of you, and talk about it, and then report back to the board meeting on November 15th. They would come, in the contract language, they offered $10 for the easement, and no. At any rate, that's to be discussed, and he said they're in a bind, ComEd's in a bind to do this, because if you go down Asbury, there's no city property worth 3 feet from the sidewalk to the street, so they can't put it on city property in front of somebody's house or in front of our park without our permission. You know what I'm talking about? City property from the sidewalk to the street on Asbury is very narrow. So they need us, or do it underground potentially, which could be very expensive, I believe, but they also could pay the park district for that easement a significant dollar, maybe. So it's something to consider, it's something to look at.
A new fire truck.
That might be more money for our
At any rate,
playground.
the actual box will be 3 by 5 by 5 feet tall.
Yeah. Isn't there one on the corner of Main and Western and Asbury? Right in front of that house, like those big gray boxes, is that?
Yeah, it's kind of a gray-green,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's one in our neighborhood. Not very attractive.
Probably the ones in your neighborhood are internet
Get
service.
used to it.
Oh, okay.
So,
The beige ones everywhere are the AT&T
Yeah,
universe.
AT&T, yeah. Yeah, those.
They went through the state legislature to get the rights to do what they kind of imposed.
Yeah.
so at any rate, I'm gonna call Mike from ComEd tomorrow and try to set up a date. So if you could give me a date, you're good. I can suggest that to Mike, preferably in the morning. They don't work. ComEd guys are, you know.
Yeah, next week I'm leaving on Thursday, so probably have to be the following week.
Following week,
The week of the
18th, the week of 19, 20, the week of
22nd. Week of the
22nd.
22nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're good in the mornings,
Yeah, and I don't get back to the 23rd, so latter part of that week.
so the 24th in the morning, 25th in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So have you encouraged them about this? I mean, I'm not real enthusiastic about, doing this. I mean, so is this something they can force on us?
Do we have a short?
No,
plan?
they cannot force it on us, no.
But I think we maybe just need to talk about the dollar amount that would make it attractive.
Well, they've offered $1, so what?
Like maybe,
Maybe $10,000.
$10,000.
Yeah, but just, I mean, this is sort of in the middle of the, this is grass. Yeah, I mean,
But unless they offer a lot more
yeah, we
money.
can
Is it off to the
find
side or
somewhere else.
Huh?
Is it off to the side? I didn't even see
No,
it.
it's
It's not in the middle of, it's in the middle of the grass area.
Yeah, we're not signing anything.
Yeah.
No, it'll come back to the board with detailed plans and a money amount, or it's over.
$10,000 minimum, yeah.
Yeah, you try.
Because there's no good place to put this, even in the park.
It'll help
You go for it.
it'll help our play equipment. Yeah.
So at any
We have
rate,
that general idea
That $1
that
was
maybe they should look at other places too. if this-
absolutely. I told them that. Here's what I told them.
Oh, okay.
I can't speak for the board. A previous scenario was in Elk Park, and the board rejected it, and that was for $5,000. That was, what, 10, 15 years ago? Yeah. So I just told the guy, you know, I'm not the bad guy here, but we'll listen. And
Yeah,
It's not
so
something we have to do
the
this.
placement
it's
of
worth, you know, our morning, listen, come to the board
yeah, the
meeting.
placement of it would be
No, I agree.
a
I'm
key
with
issue
you.
as well.
And then it's got to be on the agenda, so if a neighbor wants to come and say no,
Right.
or yes, they
Right.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, let Joe know about that. I'm sure.
Huh?
I said, let Joe know about that. It's right 20 feet from his house.
I'm sorry?
Let Joe know about that.
Oh, yeah, Joe's right there.
Right next to us.
605 Joe.
Yeah.
Does it make any sound?
That's what we got to talk to him about.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
It might hum.
Buzz.
Buzz.
Yeah, so that would be an issue too,
Oh,
for sure.
gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's an issue now at Northwestern. They're just finishing Welsh Rhine Arena,
Uh-huh.
and the HVAC system is making all sorts of noise, and the neighbors are going nuts.
I don't blame them.
So
Yeah,
it's an
right.
issue. Good point.
I just want to say that I thought we had a very nice party for Anna, and I want to thank you, Brian, for putting that all together. I thought it turned out to be a really nice day,
I had help, including you.
but it was a nice send-off, so
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So, any more citizen comments? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, all in favor?
What you want,